This here is Douglas City Hall. This is where the City Housing Authority used to be. This door down here is where you would enter to go see the City Housing Authority, a federally funded program by HUD, who somewhere on or around January 1st closed the City Housing Authority office and moved all operations to the county. It's obvious and evident that people that utilize the HUD program are people with less than fortunate incomes. And moving the housing authority of the city to the county poses a huge problem for people with less than fortunate incomes. As you can see on the main entrance of the door, there is no notice that the city housing has moved whatsoever. Now let me help you understand. Douglas, Arizona is located in Cochise County. Cochise County is a very large county in the state of Arizona. Very large county. Covers a lot of square miles. Covers everything from Douglas to Bisbee to Sierra Vista, Benson, Wilcox, and more. As you see, the property here is absolutely well maintained. Beautiful property. But if you went around the city, you would be appalled at the amount of money that is spent on this property here that could be spent on cleaning up the city of Douglas. The city of Douglas is filthy. It's dirty. There's dilapidated and rundown houses, lots that are just overgrown with vegetation. They could be using that money to help clean up the city, but no, they use it to make their city hall look beautiful to the people that are coming into the city, because the city hall is pretty much located right when you come into the city. I mean, if you look there, they have an electronic sign. That sign, plus to run it, probably cost $150,000, if not more. That could have been used on more important city projects. I would bet the city of Douglas spends $250,000 a year just maintaining this property alone. It's unheard of and just terrible. The city around this building is terrible. You can even see it by looking across the street. There are some of those rundown buildings over there. I mean, and empty lots just right there. I mean, come on. But let me get back to the point. They moved the City Housing Authority to the county. They permanently closed the City Housing Authority office to the county, and the county office is in Bisbee. Now, Bisbee is 22 miles from Douglas, Arizona. Some people that live in Douglas, a lot of people that live in Douglas that have less than fortunate incomes don't have a vehicle. So they can't get to Bisbee. And so to make it easier, they say, to make it easier on people, they have one person down here, maybe one day a week on Wednesday. And you're lucky if you catch them, or if they have time to see you. Doing that has caused a lot of issues for certain patrons of HUD, and I'll explain. I'm going to take you to the Douglas Government Center, which is Douglas's county building right now. It's directly across the street from Douglas City Hall. Now, as you see, this is the City Hall. This is the Douglas Government Center, Cochise County Regional Service Center. Why don't you just say it's the Justice Court for Douglas? You look at that awning right there, that's one of their main entrances to the building, yet there's not much signage or anything stating that that's an entrance. It just looks like a back door. This is the front of the building of the Cochise Douglas Government Center, yet still not much signage stating as such. But this is supposed to be the front door. If I didn't know that this was the government center, I wouldn't know. I would just walk by it. It doesn't say anything on the doors, on the windows, nothing. It's a very innocuous building. Look at that. Look how beautiful it is inside there. All the money this must be a $2-3 million building, and it probably costs that much to maintain it every year when they could be using that money for the community. It's sickening. If you look at that gate right there, that is where the person from the county comes down once a week to see people on Wednesdays. And back to the back of the building of the Douglas Government Center, so I can get to the reason of this story. On January 30th, my mother, Carol Cahoon, suffered a medical emergency at the bank here in town, in which she would had to be taken to the Douglas emergency room, where, I'm sorry, I've seen better animal hospitals. Anyways, the Douglas emergency room immediately stated that she needed to be taken to TMC due to problems of sepsis because of a kidney infection and heart issues, along with some scary blood tests that turned up to be adult leukemia. My mom was not released until February 12th of 2023 from the hospital. The reason I tell you this is because the day that she was taken to the hospital on January 30th, the owner of the property that we live at right now, Victor Brewer, dropped off a eviction notice, so to speak, or a notice to move because he was selling the property to some new owners. Well, neither me nor my mother, my name is Les Dent, neither me nor my mother saw this eviction or moving notice until January or February 12th, maybe it was the 13th, notifying us that we had to move. In essence, giving us 14 days, 15 days to find a place. And then the new owners showed up a couple days later, and we tried to explain to them. And then the new owner's name is Carlos Sabalos or something like that. Forgive me for not saying his name right if I didn't, but his name is Carlos C. Tried to explain to them that we just saw this notice. You can't expect us to find a place to live in 2 weeks, that we are a HUD family, that it takes time to move because HUD has to get in and inspect and to improve the property that we're going to move to. Thankfully, we had found a place shortly after that down on 2nd Street, 1020 2nd Street, but that property ended up being owned by somebody who lives in Mexico. HUD won't pay rent to another country, to somebody who lives in another country. So that fell through at the last minute. On February 28th, I got a text message from the niece of the person that bought the property asking if she could have the keys. And I stated, well, we can't move out and I can't give you the keys right now because us moving into that property fallen through and we need a little bit more time to find a new place. They didn't care. Zero compassion, zero whatever. I'm going to back up a little bit. On the 23rd, when we thought we had the place, I had signed a promise to move. I did, myself, not my mother. Myself, signed a promise to move, if they return the security deposit that we paid to Victor Brewer. Well, they gave us the security deposit back, and we had every intention of moving. But as I stated, on the 28th, it fell through due to HUD not approving the property because of the owner's issue of living in Mexico. Their answer to that was to not having any compassion, was to file an eviction notice in court. This is where things get muddy. Now, let me remind you, I believe that Douglas, Arizona is 97.2% Hispanic or Mexican descent, 1.3% Caucasian, and the rest of other ethnicity, making me and my mother, who are Caucasian, the extreme minority. No matter where we go in town, we are the minority. Since I've lived here, I have not been able to find a job at all because I don't speak Spanish and because I'm white. I believe that the discrimination that I experience in this city is exponential, to the point where me and a couple of my friends who are both Hispanic, we went and applied at like 10 different places, all three of us. Both of them got talked to in callbacks for interviews. I didn't get one callback, one nothing. And my job history is far more extensive than theirs. I believe it to be because of discrimination. I believe I'm discriminated against by the entire city, the staff, the police, everything, because I'm white. There's nowhere to find a job for a white person in Douglas. I'm sorry, there isn't, no matter where you go. Not McDonald's, not Burger King, nowhere. Well, back to the court stuff. The niece had been communicating with me on that day, on the 28th, and I sent her a very long message in Spanish. And how did I do that? I used Google Translate to translate what I was saying into Spanish and sent it to her, and she replied to me, "Okay, get me the voucher." Any person that in their right mind would perceive that as, okay, we're going to give you the time, just give us the voucher. If me saying what I said, because I was asking her for 30 to 60 more days, and their reply, okay, give me the voucher, you would take that as perceiving that you're going to get the extra time. And that's what we went to court with, that perception. Well, when we went to court on the 3rd, I had forgotten my phone at home. Even though that the niece had the same message on her phone, the judge wanted to see it on my phone. She could have asked the niece, and the niece could have showed her. Well, I went home to get my phone to find out that my phone was stolen, all my money was stolen out of my bank account by my former roommate, and that's just a whole nother debacle. I came back into court, because she recessed court. I came back into court and informed them right away that my phone was stolen, that my money was stolen, and everything. So that's on court record. Now, let me make you guys understand one thing. My mom is the one that is the renter. My mom is the one that's under HUD. Just because I signed an agreement to move out doesn't include my mother. It doesn't include anybody else. It only includes my mother. So the judge found, approved their eviction thing and said that we got to pay $500 rent for March. Well, shouldn't that mean we get to stay for March? You know? And the judge was very, I feel in my right, discriminatory towards me because I'm white. And, you know, she stated that she's been on the bench for 16 years and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's fine and dandy. These are my feelings I'm experiencing. I feel that I experienced discrimination in that courtroom. That's my perception, and everybody's allowed that perception. I apologize if she doesn't feel that way. That's how I perceived it. And then she says you have 5 days to appeal, gives us this paperwork to appeal, and we don't even know how to fill it out. We don't know where to take it. We don't know anything about it. Can't afford a lawyer. All these people had to do was give us the extra few days so that we can find a new place. But no, they want to boot my mom out, who's almost 70. She'll be 70 on the 23rd. Boot my mom out, who is dying with adult leukemia and just recovered from sepsis and has got severe diabetes and has to have an angioplasty and a stent done on the 29th. But they want to lock her out and boot her out and put her on the streets on Tuesday because this family is incompassionate and mean. When we've lived in this house for 6 years, how do you expect us to find a place in that amount of time? And then having the court, the HUD moved to Bisbee, when it's difficult to get up there because you can't afford to drive up there because, there's no money, no jobs. And then you can't get a hold of anybody at the office because they don't answer the phone or they're on vacation, and everything's working against us because we're white. So I beg, I plead, somebody help us. My mom, I don't want her to die. I don't want her to be homeless. But we need help. Somebody, please. Okay, my name is Les Dent. My mom is Carol Cahoon. You can reach either of us at 406-770-0015 or my mom at 406-217-4138. We currently live at 925 East 16th Street, and that's until the sheriff locks us out. We have money. We have the money to be able to rent a place, but we can't get into a place because we can't find anything. So somebody help us, please. I'm begging you. I don't want to lose my mom.